And we are live with another episode here. Really, really excited for today's show. Jen, how are you today?
I'm good, Gary. How you doing?
Fantastic. Well, listen, we got started a little late, and I want to get right into our interview with our special guest Terri Hastings. So let's roll the intro, and
hmm
then we'll bring Terri right on screen right after that.
Sounds perfect.
Perfect. Well, we are bringing Terri right on screen right away. Forget all the other niceties and everything like that. Excuse me. Terri, I don't know if you remember, but you and I sort of met digitally before you, or just as you were coming over to KW. And I think, has it been 4 years now you've been with KW?
Yes, we're just starting our fourth year now.
Fourth year, yeah, it's fantastic. And I know our mutual friend Kevin Dixon introduced us, and I remember him calling me saying, "I met this great leader out in the Wyerton area, and she's building her team, and she's going to be awesome." And that's all he said. And oh my gosh,
Well,
how are you? Have you ever
yeah.
set the tone? And has business ever taken off for you over the last, not just 4 years, but I'm sure leading up to that as well. So for those of us that don't know Terri Hastings, who's Terri Hastings?
Well, thank you, Gary. Terry Hastings. I'm up here in little town of Wyerton, and most people say, when I say I'm from Wyerton, they say, "Where's that?" And I have to say, "Well, I'm sure you've heard of Wyerton Willie," and they go, "Oh, yes." So we're very blessed that we are in a small population community, but a very large geographical area, and we are surrounded by beautiful waterfront and inland lakes, and we have a retirement recreation area, and that's I grew up here. I was born and raised here, and so this is where my business is, and this is where I chose to grow my business.
Very good. And so you had the Terri Hastings team, and explain to us what that team environment looks like. And if you're willing, share with us, the amount of market share that you have in such a small area. It's pretty incredible.
Yes, so we have a lot of market share. I actually don't know the actual percentage, and because I'm been too busy to actually go in and look at all the stats. So, so we have three locations: one in Wyerton, one in Tobermory, and one in Port Elgin. So it covers a really large area geographical wise, but population wise, that would totally be maybe max 30,000 people max. That's it. So last year we did triple platinum, and basically we did, I would say, at least 75 to 80% of that on the Bruce Peninsula, which therefore our population would be less than 20,000. So we really know our demographic, and we know who they are. We know what they want, and we know what they're going to need actually before they know.
hmm
I like it. Sorry, I got one more question here, Jen, before you have an opportunity. I'm hogging all the time with Terry. So
All good, all good.
I just want to help Jen to kind of put that in perspective. So we're talking a local population of about 20,000 people, and you said you triple platinum. And for those that are not with KW, like how many units would that be in a year, Terry, that your team would close?
So that's between 300 to 399 units. Last year we closed I think about 340 units, say.
340. Let's
And
everybody put that in perspective. I'm just rehashing this because I want people to just to grasp the market share that you do have. And that, that's over 300 units in an area where there's 20,000 or just over people. That is phenomenal. Congratulations, Terry. That is amazing. Jen, over to
thank
you.
you.
I mean, I think the automatic question that probably everyone is thinking is, what's your secret? Like, what? And to break that down more, I guess I would say, what is your typical business model look like or your day look like? And, how do you, I know you have a phenomenal team as well, and how do you lead them to that kind of success?
So, okay, so I want to go back to the when I first came to Keller Williams, it was the Keller Williams training and
Mm.
systems. And up until then, I mean, I was with Remax before, nothing against Remax. It just, I wasn't able to grow. I didn't have anybody to learn from. So once you get to a certain level, I was approaching frustration and burnout. And I knew that to be able to grow, I had to change something, but I didn't know how to do it at all. So as soon as we found Keller Williams and Kevin, once he started to talk to me about what Keller Williams and Keller Williams Realty Centers can help and teach us, in particular me,
Mm-hmm.
that's when we made the switch. We came over. I rely heavily on our Keller Williams training. All of our new people go through Ignite, and then they're off and running, and we're very diligent about keeping those 2 hours every day for lead gen. We the team, we report to each other, we're accountable to each other, so we make sure that we're following the systems that Keller Williams has taught us, and
Mm-hmm.
it is so important. So next, Keller Williams taught me how to avoid burnout, which was building a team. And once I understood how to delegate and what I should be doing and what I should not be doing, and then take myself a little bit out of the field to be able to train, that really took us to the next level. And then after that, it became, well, how do I protect what I'm building and build something into the future? So then that's when we became heavily interested in profit sharing. So 3 years ago, we came to Keller Williams. I had two realtors, and then it became myself and one other realtor and one admin. And now we have myself, my husband, Neil, he's our field manager, and he works with us full time. We have 10 full time realtors and one admin staff. And then I always
Wow.
tell everybody when I'm recruiting, we have Keller Williams Realty Centers as our partner. You're our team, and we rely on our call center, our call coordinators. So without that, and our broker of record, and all of you behind the scenes, I would not know how to get to where we've got so far.
Yeah, that's really
Yeah.
cool. And one of the neat things that I love about that, Terry, is, you know, it's not how I did it and look what I did. I'm honored, Jen and I are honored to be in business with you, but it's really a partnership, right? And you
It
can't really,
is.
Jen and I, we coach a lot of brand new agents and other agents as they come over to our office. And you really can't have that win-win solution when it's just one or the other, right? And I see it in your business. And would it be fair to say, like, the 3+ years you've been with us, your business has more than doubled in that time, and your exposure and kind of the ramp up to where you're going? Is that fair to say?
Yes. Do you want me to talk numbers?
Hey, that's up to you. That's all up to you. If you're happy to, then I'm sure people would be happy to hear. But I just want to preface it is, we bring on people like Terry to inspire. And
Mm.
and even though, and the real cool part about your story, Terry, is you came to us with a pretty significant business to begin with, and one that I think a lot of people would be very, very proud of. Yet you saw an opportunity to keep growing, and more importantly, to help others around you grow, and that's important. I know important to you and your husband Neil for sure.
Yes, for sure. Just by growing a team, it gave us well, for me, it gave me some time back. So when I left Remax, I think I had just hit chairman, which is 500,000 in GCI. And of course, with that, at the end of the day, I didn't have that much left in the bank. So I can remember calling Marvin and saying, before I even made the decision to move over, I said, Marvin, can you show me how to get to 750 and keep a little more in my pocket? Because what am I not
Mm.
doing right? How do you make a $500,000 a year and not have any more at the end of the day when you made 250? What am I doing wrong? So he said, yes, I can. And that was the start of it, honestly. And then Marvin, and all your systems, Keller Williams, you taught me how to treat my business as a business. The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, I just couldn't believe it when I finished reading it. I thought, why didn't I see this or have this book in year one? Like, it would have saved 10 years of trying to figure it out on my own. So it really shows you, how much you should be spending on marketing and how much in labor, and it sets up your business where you don't have to think about it. You just implement it. So I really rely heavy on all of you. I recruit, and then the training starts with Ignite, then the coaching with Jen. And, there's still lots of times now the team calls, and from my experience, we discuss it. And we're in an uncharted territory for the market. So there's a lot of questions now that are coming up. I don't know. I don't know. Let's call Christine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's smart.
That's
and Christine's our broker of record. And I think, and maybe Jen, and you'll agree with this too, not enough people rely on their broker of record for just that insight, and whether it's, something from a legal standpoint or just getting other opinions, use that as a resource for sure.
Yeah, we, even in coaching, I mean, we rely on it heavily to confirm information, not just to, sometimes we know what the answer is, but I know, Terri, I'm sure you experienced this too. You're like, I'm pretty sure this is what it is, but you know what? Just double check that. Just make sure, because you just want to be certain that you're giving the right information. And I always joke around with Christine that I'm like, she knows it's a Friday or a Saturday if I'm calling her, because I only ever seem to call her on Fridays and Saturdays. I don't know what it is, but it's true. It's a weird timing, but but yeah, I mean, that's what those resources are there for. And I can share with you too, Terri, having a few of your team members actively in the coaching programs right now that, they speak very, very highly of you as a leader, and the support that they get from you, and the guidance and the mentorship that you provide your team. And I would love to ask you a little bit more about that. I know that you know how important that is, and you put a lot of weight in making sure that they get that attention. And so as a team leader of a team doing the production you're doing, and having, the 10 agents, how do you find the time to make sure that they're getting that level of education that you're providing for them, and allowing them that success so quickly?
So when I started to realize to get to the 750, I started to give out a lot more leads that I would have taken on. And so now I feel that I'm to that next level to be able to free up my time to be able to be there for the team. And I do struggle with that a little bit, but this year, for the first time ever, now I am giving out listing leads where they would originally call for me. I'll either go on the listing appointment with them, and we tell them, well, we're partners, we work as a team. I don't say they're my team or on my team. We are the team, so that I can co-list that, and they do all the work, and then I'm coaching them behind the scenes to move through that listing, so that they're gaining the client is looking at them instead of me. So that my goal is to now just start to specialize in focusing on the team, to grow the team. We have a couple more realtors in courses right now, and right now I do feel I'm maxed as far as adding new team members if I didn't change something within my own real estate sales business. So that's kind of my goal next, is to start to I understand, when I started to understand I need to give out business, and that just shot our numbers. It really did. I know it's scary for a lot of realtors to say I'm going to give away buyers, and now I'm giving away all the buyers. And so if I maybe last year, if I worked with 8 buyers, that'd be it for the whole year. So the rest of the team held all of them. And so then our second year with Marvin, we did, I think, 700 or just over 725. And then I can remember always looking at Jennifer Jones, and I call Marvin, and I'm like, how do I do what she's doing? Like, I couldn't believe the numbers. Like,
Yeah.
and he goes, "Oh, okay, you want to do that?" I'm like, "Well, yeah. What do I do?" So we started that process, and then last year we doubled the year before, so we ended up at 1.94 in GCI for last year for a team, our whole team.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
that's
amazing.
tremendous. And you kind of led me into my last question here, Ed, before we sign off. And you touched on it a little bit, but let's dive a little bit deeper here. What's next for Terri Hastings? What does the rest of this year look like and beyond?
So I really only want to deal with waterfront listings. That really is my passion, is waterfront. And so I want to be able to give out all the rest of any listing potentials to our team. I do want to bring in 2 to 3 new team members come this fall, and then spend the winter, getting them ready to train for the spring. And then I want to look at expansion teams in different markets. So that's my goal, is to try and get myself away from the actual sales part, and then move myself into the expansion team will grow my profit share.
Yeah, I
Right.
love it.
Yeah,
I
very
love
much
it.
so. Yeah.
Terri, we do appreciate you spending this afternoon with us, and your continued success. So I love watching your success, from one year to the next and to the next. And we are very honored to have you a part of our brokerage, and to just pick up the phone and have a conversations like this. I love it. And you provide so much back to us too. So we wish you all the best, and certainly to you and your team.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you both so much.
All right,
Okay.
that's
Enjoy the
Terri
rest of the
Hastings,
day.
and the
You
website
too,
was
Terry.
Terri Hastings. Here it is. I'll put it up one more time. TerriHastings.ca. That's the best way to get a hold of her. Reach out to her, especially if you have referrals up in that Wyerton, Grey Bruce Peninsula, for sure. Send them out to her. She would be not only honored, but you can rest assured that she's going to certainly support you and your clients for sure. All the best, Terri. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye, Terry.
Awesome. I love Terri. Like, she's so humble, right?
She's so humble. I know. It always makes me laugh. She always seems like surprised that when we ask questions, right? She's just like, "Oh, you want to know that?" Like, yeah,
Yeah.
we want to know. Of course
Yeah.
we do. Yeah, it's very sweet. Very. It just goes to show her core, right? It's a great thing, and I think that's why her team admire her as much as they do as well, because she is so humble.
Very humble, and the really cool thing too is, and Jen, you and I get to see this at a different level. If she has an ego, I've never seen it, right? And
Yeah.
she's the first
Yeah.
to ask a question, and to our other agents, and looking for support, looking for insight. Hey, I had this come up. How do you handle this? And she's always, to me, that's the person that's always wanting to learn and to grow. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
Yeah,
good.
and
Okay.
she has a very good growth mindset for sure.
Yeah.
All right. What do you got for us today, Gary?
Okay, let's move on to, we got a few quick segments here, and the first one is let's do What Would You Do? Okay, different What Would You Do this week. And I was thinking about what can we talk about, Jen, and productivity coaching is something that you're very passionate about. And I don't know if we've actually spent the time, and it doesn't have to be a long time, just a few minutes, but for a lot of agents out there that have always been hesitant on coaching because A, they don't want to be held accountable, or B, they just haven't asked. Right. So I thought this would be a good opportunity for you to kind of share, that overview of, a big part of our brokers and how you lead that. So Jen, what the heck is productivity coaching?
I like that you said it doesn't have to be long. From our YKW, I can't answer this quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, let me try. So I think what I would call productivity coaching is it's a team environment for new agents who are looking to learn the skills and the structure of being successful. Let me just stop that every time.
Well,
And the
that's how we
structure
know
of
we're
being
live, because your phone went off.
Yeah, because my phone goes up. The structure of being successful as a realtor and what that requires, while in an environment that you have, answers and you have access to resources and you have the tools and the training to get you there faster and essentially to coach you into productivity and being a productive agent as quickly as possible. And so what that means, I guess, because that was a weird way to explain it, but what that means is that it's a program based on your goals as an agent. It's not a one size fits all program. And you know this, Gary, that every agent in the program, they have different goals. They have different time availability. Some people are transitioning as full-time employees in another role. Some people are coming in and it's their first career ever. Some people are transitioning as a retired person who wants a second career or has downtime and just loves real estate. So we have to have those conversations and figure out what are your goals? What do you want to achieve with your career? Why did you become a realtor? And then we build a vision and an action plan around that. And I hold you accountable to that action plan, to the one that you built, that we agreed on together. And then we provide you the tools and the support and the structure to actually be able to implement what's required to achieve the goals that we set. So it's not just about the goals, it's about the action steps to get us there. And I guess that's really what I think it's the core of what it's about.
Well, you said something important there, Jen, and I want to highlight it, it's not Jen's goals, or it's not KW's goals or my goals for you. It's the coaching client's goals. And that's what the plan is built around. And if that goal, we've heard it 1,000 times, if that goal really does mean something to you, we know that you can't say no to your own goals, right? You can't say no to your own dreams, right? And that's exactly where Jen comes from. And I know, we talked about it. If you were on with us when Terri Hastings was with us, she leverages Jen's coaching program with their team members. And so Jen's coaching not only brand new agents, but you do have a significant amount of very experienced agents that you're coaching as well, right, Jen?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were lucky enough to be able to roll out the growth coaching, which is the second tier of productivity coaching in our coaching world, and that's for agents that have some more experience. You're not brand new, you're not fresh out of the gate, but maybe you're just not hitting the goals that you want. Maybe your business isn't where you thought it would be at this point. Perhaps it was there and it's fallen off a little bit with COVID and with some of the other challenges with technology. I know some people have had a hard time getting through that transition, and they've been leaning into the coaching program for that support, and we provide that too. So I think the thing that I'm very passionate about is making sure that it's coaching for everybody, regardless of what your obstacles are, what your challenges are. Sometimes we have agents who are great producing agents. They don't have any systems in place. They don't have any structure, and they just feel like they're spinning and in that hamster wheel that they can't get out of because they don't know where to go next. So their coaching is obviously going to be different than the agent that needs to learn about lead generation. And that's why it's important and that's why we say it's a team, that we need to know what your business looks like. And we're involved to the point that we oftentimes know your clients' names. We know what deals you're working on. We know, what offers you just wrote. And most of the guys in coaching can attest to that. Like they'll be sharing stories, and we know of it. We know what's going on because we're in communication with you as you're working through those deals. And we're helping you build your business and put the building blocks in place. So whether you're brand new or you're in that transition stage or that growth stage, as we call it, trying to get to being a capper and above, the program is flexible for everybody. And that's important to me. That's a big value piece for me, that I can provide that, and that the coaching team can provide that for everybody that wants to show up. And I say to everybody, it's not how bad we want it for you. It's how you show up. We're all adults. We've all made our own decisions. This is your business. And you're going to get out of the coaching program what you put into it. If you show up every day and you participate and you're open-minded and you implement, the success is there. We've seen it. We have amazing examples of agents turning their business around in 5-6 months, becoming capping agents, getting back on track, brand new agents who are in the top 20% of the brokerage within a year. So the results are there. There's no issues with that, right? It's how do you choose to show up in your business every day, and how do we help you knowing that, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And like put this in perspective. You say it's a great program to, to level up and keep moving up. And not everybody wants to keep moving up, but they want more time. So it really does get tailored to you and your goals. But let's put this into perspective. We just had Terri Hastings on with us, and she came to our brokerage with a really decent business and well-moving business, and she told us she was earning over $500,000 a year, and in less than 3 years, so fast forward 3 years, she was just shy, her team, of hitting $2 million in GCI because of our systems and the tools that we have and Jen's coaching program. So she went from 500,000 to 2 million, like 4 times what she was previously earning. Who would like that type of raise? 4 times, right? Here, I should put my hand in the right spot. That is tremendous. Tremendous. So do reach out to Jen and myself if you have questions about the coaching program or the tools that we have available to our agents. It's taking top producers and adding a tremendous amount of fuel so they can become, that mega agent that a Terri Hastings is, for example. Good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and Terri mentioned a lot. She talked to Marv, and Marv would say, "Okay, go do this," and it's the same within the coaching program, regardless of what level you're at, because there's also the advanced coaching for the cappers and above who are building out teams and things like that. And we're not recreating things. There's no secret behind what we discuss or what we provide. It's really just that you get into action and you implement and you follow through on what it is that's going to get you to the point of hitting the goals. And something that Terri is very efficient at and very successful at is implementing and following through, right? That's why she's been able to achieve what she has with the guidance of Marvin, now getting her team into coaching and that support as well. And it's amazing to see. I can't even imagine what their year this year is going to look like, because some of our agents who've been in the business 4 or 5 months are just killing it right now. So adding that to last year's results is going to be huge for sure.
Yeah. And she's not our only example of that. I know the Volpe Alcorn team, I see them every day as they walk by my office, and every time it's like another transaction or another 2 or 3 almost every day. Like things are happening because they're following the systems and tools, but more importantly, as Jen said, they're doing the action and doing what's required of them. Very good. Okay, cool. Let's move on. We got a couple of quick takes, Jen, and I think these are all the quick takes are important, but these ones are pretty interesting. Okay, showing etiquette. This came up last week, if you recall, right? And we were talking about, home inspections and who should do them and what happens with them and everything like that. And part of that conversation turned into, well, you have a book showing, you're the buying agent. Who's supposed to show up at that showing? Even inside and outside COVID. Let's talk about that. So Jen, what's your first thought on, you go book a showing as a buyer's agent for your clients? Who do you expect to show up at that showing?
I mean, traditionally my clients.
Yes.
And not really anybody else, unless, on the occasion a parent. Sometimes, you get a buyer visit, you're going to get that mom or dad show up as well, or both. But usually they give you notice of that if that's going to happen. And, in the COVID era, we need that notice because we have to confirm that it's okay for the sellers that we had that many adults in the home, right? But yeah, traditionally the buyers are the ones who show up.
Yeah, buyers, and not a contractor that you just called to show, have come by. It is literally the buyers. You're there, and and the other question too is, how long can you stay there for? Now, outside of COVID, typically the etiquette or the agreed upon time, would you say, Jen, is an hour?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the standard. It's an hour. It's even in a lot of contracts that it's a 60-minute visit, and that's the window, right? For the seller's sake as well as everybody else's. But I know that there are scenarios where it is an hour and a half, and I've seen it be a 2-hour appointment, but usually that's because somebody is going outside of what the expected time frame is. And that can become a challenge when it's obviously not prior notice given, of course.
So Jen, I'm your buyer, and we're looking at a home that doesn't matter whether it needs extensive renovations or not. But I want to do renovations to it before I submit an offer. I want to understand what that's going to look like. Can I bring a contractor to kind of look at it and just kind of give, like, how do I make that happen? What do you say there, Jen?
I mean, I would say absolutely. Yeah, of course you can, as long as notice is given. So let me know as your agent that that's what you'd like to do. Let me speak to the listing agent, let them know what our intention is, make sure that the seller is comfortable with that, and then go back and organize that we have permission, that everyone has to follow whatever protocols are required entering and exiting the home, and that your contractor is aware that they need to be on time and that they need to be out of the home by a certain period of time. And if everybody's on the same page, there's absolutely no issue. Right?
Yeah. And where it kind of gets into that outside of the etiquette is, perhaps you've got a scheduled showing, or maybe even a scheduled inspection, and all of a sudden there's like 15 different parties all showing up, or different colleagues of yours all showing up, and as the buying agent, we're like, whoa, what's going on here? I didn't know everybody was showing up to this, because it's not our home, for one.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And the other part is, we gotta make sure that it's okay with the sellers, that, of whom we have going into the home as well, from that perspective, for sure. Any pieces that we're missing there, Jen? Actually, I do have one, and this is probably a whole segment on itself. So I'll we'll tease the audience a little bit. I remember a few years ago, I did a video on, you mentioned it earlier, maybe the parents do show up. Mm-hmm. And that's okay. As a buying agent, though, Jen, I want to make sure I'm having clear expectations and conversations with my buyers to say, Mom and Dad are awesome. I bet you love Mom and Dad with your whole heart, right? And here's what I say. You can take advice from them, and they may have only bought 2 or 3 homes in their lifetime, or you can take advice from a trained professional who's bought and sold hundreds of homes. Mm-hmm. And you gotta set that expectation, especially when Mom and Dad, because we all know how fast a deal can go sideways or backwards, or not, just doesn't exist after Mom and Dad.
Doesn't happen.
I mean, we love Mom and Dads.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when they're helping out with the deal, then it's a whole other conversation, right? Because now there's a feeling of a bit of having a say in the decision. And I think you're exactly right. It's set the expectation up front. Just like with any other situation, when it's clear what the process is, what the expectations are, what the involvement is, then it goes a little smoother. You still might get those bumps in the road, and it's hard especially for first time buyers and kids to hear a negative feedback from a parent and not have it sway them or change their perspective on a property. And I think you're absolutely right. You need to explain to them in advance that, we do this every day. We're the professional, and we're working in their best interest and giving them the best information based on the current market, not based on, 1998's market, or whatever that might look like, because sometimes that part gets overlooked in the conversation and in the process, right? And there's always I always love this, because there's always the different types of parents, right? There's always the different types of opinions, and you've got the financial element, but then you've got the ones that they know everything about the house or about the structure, about, you're trying to say, if we can get a home inspector, we'll look at that, we'll do this, we'll do that. And of course there's, lots of different variables that we have to manage there as agents and handle in a specific way, so as not to create any animosity or any issues. And yet we still need to make sure that we're being heard, because the minute that disconnect happens, we're going to lose control of the client. We're going to lose control of the situation and the negotiations. And that's when it gets really, really hard to navigate, right?
Yeah. And here's the thing too, like, I can pretty much guarantee Mom and Dad will come in if they're not happy with the value that you're getting in return of, the price that you got to pay for the house. And here's the thing, right, Jen? Like, I can pretty much guarantee that your mortgage is probably going to be maybe even double the amount that they purchased their home for. Maybe even more than double. And sometimes Mom and Dad, right? Sometimes Mom and Dad just can't comprehend that. You're getting a $600,000-$800,000 mortgage, and we've heard it around here, $1 million mortgage. Like, people just can't comprehend that. And that, if you're watching in the GTA, that's what it is. If you're a first-time home buyer, so that's what, that's become the new norm, right? So, anyways, let's move on, Jen. There's lots of different rabbit holes we can go down there. Maybe in a future show. Okay, next
maybe
one.
that's a good one. How to handle parents. That might be one of our future topics.
We'll just have a big question mark. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, moving on.
Yeah.
Okay, nope, that's the same one. What happened here? Showing etiquette. Yeah, here's what it is. I'm gonna change this on the fly, Jen. But here's what it is. This is a waiver, not wiver. I'm gonna spell it correctly. A waiver, or fulfillment. And here's the thing. There is a big difference here. And I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't even know if I spelled it correctly. Yeah, fulfillment. Sure enough.
Yeah, I think
I nailed it.
Yeah,
Show is over. I spelled it correctly.
Just drop the mic now, Gary, and go home.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, Jen. Is there a difference in the two forms?
Yeah, this comes up a lot. Yes, there's a difference, of course, in the two forms. They serve two different purposes. A waiver is a document that states that you will not be completing the condition and will be waiving it from the offer or removing it prior to completion. A fulfillment means that you've gone through the process, you've had the home inspection, you've talked to the lender, whatever that might be, and you have fulfilled the terms of the condition and are therefore giving the seller written notice that you've done so and that condition has been met. And, some people will say it doesn't matter which one you use, they both create the same end result. However, the challenge with that, and that's not right, that is incorrect. It does matter very much so, because it can affect if there ever was to be an issue and you waived a condition versus fulfilling it, even though you had completed the home inspection or completed the lending. The waiver means that you said and agreed to say, no, I'm just going to remove that without completing. And it could impact where you stand in any sort of issue or situation. So please make sure, I think this is a hugely important one, make sure you're using the right form. And traditionally, it's a fulfillment. It's not as often that it is a waiver unless your client decides, yeah, we don't need to do it. We're good. Just take it out of the offer. And then the other thing to pile onto this, Gary, and I'm going to add to your list, is the Form 127, right? The removal of the conditions. So if your client isn't putting conditions in an offer, don't write them in and then waive them, and don't write them in and then cross them out. Have them sign Form 127 saying that they're aware and choosing not to put them into the offer. So that again, we're protected as agents, but also it's clear to them what they're agreeing to and everybody's on the same page, right? And have them agree to that before you have them sign an offer.
Yeah, that's great. I don't think I could have explained it any better. There's also a third piece of the puzzle here too that comes into play all the time. And as a listing agent, yeah, sure, I'll take it. But as a buying agent, I never want to use it. And that's an amendment where sometimes the choice is to delete that inspection or condition and remove it from the purchase and sale agreement, which is not typical. I mean, there are times when you want that in place, sure. But typically that's not, you're not working in the best interest of your buyers in that perspective. Because as Jen said earlier, should something come up down the road where there is a home inspection and whatever, and you went through and purchased the property and you found something and it wasn't disclosed or what have you, the waiver, as Jen said, deletes it from the purchase and sale agreement. So if that ever went in front of a judge or somebody to proceed over it, that clause or condition now has no, what am I trying to say? No longer exists. So you basically vanished it, and you can never bring that back to life, whereas a fulfillment does. And the point that I also want to make here, Jen, and you said it very well, is let's say I have let's keep it simple. I have two conditions, financing and inspection. I get the financing, I fulfill that condition, but I choose, I don't want to have the home inspection. I'm okay with that. that's when a waiver would come in place only for the home inspection condition. You're going to waive that, but you're going to fulfill the other condition, in this case, a financing one. But the amendment drives me nuts when we see that delete. I mean, as a selling agent, yeah, sure, whatever. But I never want to see it from the buying perspective.
Yeah, when you insert the so you say insert new price or insert whatever, seller agrees to repair the whatever prior to closing, and then delete home inspection condition, right?
Yeah. No, we want to fulfill people. We want to fulfill our goals, fulfill our dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just it.
Yeah.
That's just it. That is our quick take on that. And there's lots more around that from a legal perspective. Obviously, talk to your broker of record as if you want clarity on some of that stuff. But from our perspective, use the appropriate forms. It is so important from a legal standpoint and from the fiduciary duty of protecting and protecting your clients, for sure. All right, my friend.
Absolutely. And just to add to that really quick, it just popped into my head. Sometimes we get agents on the other side of the transaction saying, don't worry about it. I do this all the time. It's not a big deal. My brokerage accepts all of this, whatever that looks like. That's all great. That's fine. And, if nothing's ever come of it, then maybe they've just never been on the other end of that. And, the thing about it is it's our job to protect our clients at the highest level. And by doing that, because it's easier or faster, more convenient, is not fulfilling that fiduciary duty, right? So we've got to be aware of that. We've got to know what form does what and use it accordingly, like you said.
Yeah, that's fantastic. You just gave me a great idea for another topic. I'm writing it down now. So these ideas keep coming.
We got next week lined up.
That's right. Beautiful. So that wraps it up for our show today, my friends. Do reach out to Terri Hastings or follow her on Facebook, terrihastings.ca. And always reach out to Jen or myself if you have questions, and feel free to comment below. Even though that this live show might be done, we are always circling back to the comments. And don't forget that these episodes are also on your favorite podcast. Can't even say it. Your favorite podcast player. There we go. I got it out.
You nailed it.
Good. Okay, so for Jennifer Silvernagle, I'm Gary McGowan, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.